to Arcane the Brewcast. I am your Arcane Dungeoneer. Thank you, Momrock, for use of your song, Conversation. Today I will show you two bears. Two bears that should be 2,000 bears. These freakish lumps of gummy make a mockery of the bite-sized candy treats we know and love. A tasty treat becomes something grotesque. These bears have one hope for redemption: fermentation. But for this to be possible, they will have to be broken down to free the sugar within. A simple task. If your stomach is up to it, can you make this bear ferment? The choice is yours. Today, we ferment giant gummy bear hooch.
So, we're going to be making hooch from the world's largest gummy bear. Actually, I don't think this is the world's largest gummy bear, but it's a really big gummy bear. In its current state, it's not going to be possible to ferment this. We need to melt this into water, but this guy is way too thick to dissolve into a pot of water. So what we need to do is increase his surface area so we can melt him easily. All right. This guy is pineapple flavored. We've taken a little chunk out. All right, so Deli Slicer took a nice peel out of this thing's leg, but it gummed up the Deli Slicer pretty quickly. So this probably isn't going to be the best way to chop this guy up. We're going to use a food processor. All right, so we're using this 3-pound bear, and we're going to put him in the food processor. Why did we switch bears again?
The bigger bear needs to watch.
Okay, great. Okay, so here we go. This is tremendously dangerous, so don't do this at home.
Oh no, oh shit. Oh, cut power.
Alright. So the food processor also wasn't very effective. It did shred this guy up. Don't
bypass your food processor's safety features.
So since this didn't work, the next step is cleaver. Oh, he's really thick, though. So we've mutilated our giant gummy bears. Jigsaw gave me access to a cleaver, so I cut the rope. But you know, I'm not a quitter, so we're gonna keep doing this. We've got some water heated up to about 140, and we're gonna put our gummy pieces into the water. Hey, buddy. And let them melt. Okay. Got another hunk. And I've been assuming that that there's no way it would melt as a big block. We're gonna toss in this last chunk of torso just to see how it melts on its own. Stir it up. Starting to drip a little, you can see. As expected, all the small bits have melted down, and the torso has reduced by about half. Be a lot faster if I chopped it up though. But right now, my priority is to get the temperature up to about 160. That's the temperature at which the sugars can invert, so they can ferment a little bit better. So we'll give this like another 10-20 minutes or so, and that torso will be fully melted, and then we'll let it rest at 160 for about a half hour. Then we should be ready to cool it down, put it into a fermenter. We've almost completely melted the bear. Just a little bit of gooiness left. And you can see the gelatin separated out and floated up on top. Right where we need to be for inverting of the sugars. So now we just hold it there for another half hour. And then hopefully my captor will bring down some carboys and we can get this guy fermenting. "30 minutes have passed, and there's been enough time for the sugar to have inverted. I've skimmed most of the excess gelatin off the top. Here I am, I'm getting a little bit more of it. Those last bits. Then we're gonna just take it off the heat. And cool this down. So everything's cooled down. I'm gonna add a little bit of nutrient to this since there's really not going to be a lot other than sugar. And we've gotten a sample and placed it on our refractometer, and our gravity is 1.090, which is pretty good. It's a decent amount of sugar. So now we're going to put it into our carboys, which our captor has considerately brought down to the dungeon. Oop. There we go. We're going to dump this in. Good. Maybe top off just a little bit more. We'll do the same over there. And now I'm just going to sit around and hopefully at some point my captor will bring down some yeast. So I'm gonna pitch east. God, it's so cold and dark down here. Get the D47 east. And I'm just gonna pitch that right on top. Good. And then this one. All right. And now I just I wait. Wish I had like a comic or something.
As our arcane brewer stays below to monitor the fermentation, the blood has only just begun to flow. Let's discuss the bloodiest of all fermentations, blood wine.
This is wine made out of blood. I have used pig's blood, white sugar, and red wine used to ferment this, and it is the first batch of blood wine that I have produced.
Swirl so you can kind of see.
Oh yeah.
On a grape wine, you would say, "This is very impressive legs," but
Ooh. See?
all right. Cheers, everyone.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, got the smell.
It's the texture that makes it really gross.
It's absolutely the viscosity.
Yeah, but it's not the flavor that makes it gross, which is the most interesting part to me. The flavor itself isn't very bloody.
You're right, it's not.
When I first tasted it, it really was just, yep, this is blood and sugar. And now it's
Yeah.
not. It's just like a really dull wine.
There is
Yeah,
something on the back end that I'm not a fan of.
There is
a
something
little
back
bit of
there.
that fatty
It tastes
protein.
like a pig.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's vaguely meaty.
Yes.
Vaguely meaty.
Absolutely.
But an intense metallic, like one might expect, nothing like that.
Like you get a little bit of the fat, the protein, and the salt content, but you're really not getting any of that metallic, like blood characteristic flavor.
Oh yeah. About what level of ABV do you think? Like how much fermented?
It's not. It's absolutely under 15%. I would assume that it is over 9%. I will fully admit that I was kind of lazy and I didn't do the calculations
Fair
for
enough.
the first one because this was a proof of concept.
It's not like the gravity could have really told you anything.
No, not at all.
You know, you can't measure the gravity of something this thick.
My best assumption is between 9 to 12.
On the back end, it's definitely it's like a cooked meat thing.
Yep.
It's like kind of like the smell of like unseasoned, kind of just like a cooked. Well, I guess it's pork, but beef is what comes to mind.
And what blood is this?
Pig's blood.
Oh, pig's blood. Okay.
Wow. Genuine blood wine. Okay, give it one more sip.
I'm gonna finish mine. I wasn't crazy about the flavor, but
Yeah. Oh, sure.
did you do anything to prevent coagulation?
So obviously this is filtered out when I was bottling it, and there was a decent amount of coagulation that came out of it when it was being bottled that I kept for about a hot second, and then I asked somebody with a food sciences degree what to do with it, and they were like, just throw it away, it's kind of useless. So there was coagulation. It all ended up being a very uniform kind of like sheet, almost like a kombucha SCOBY, and it was discarded.
Was that on the fermenter or on the bucket before you added the blood?
Oh no, that was after I added the blood. This is post-fermentation as I was bottling.
There was coagulation?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you noticed any post-packaging in any of the bottles? Like, has a film developed on top or all? I mean, I certainly didn't see any when
There
I
was a little
tilting it
bit
around.
of residue at the bottom that didn't want to fill in with the rest,
Sure.
as you'd expect from again, like a kombucha, anything that has a really yeast-heavy palate. And I don't know exactly what is settling. I do assume some amount of fats or something, but it doesn't. I have not seen significant separation or anything. And it has been bottled now for 2 months. So it's been bottled. This has been bottled for quite a while. This is not a very recent bottling.
Yeah, that's plenty of time. Like, if it would have developed... I wonder if the
if it would have
alcohol
separated, it would have done
works
it.
against it. Because even during fermentation, a film could develop before there's, a significant amount of alcohol in the solution. Maybe even cause it to kind of separate out. But, maybe at this point the alcohol is kind of... Because it's not really holding back the viscosity, but...
I've never noticed an odd film or an odd texture or significant separation. Again, it was that one bit of coagulation that was very obviously blood coagulation, but it didn't seem to have been affected by the fermentation process or the alcohol, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Probably won't happen then. If it hasn't happened after 2 months, I think it's probably stable like
It's
this.
impressively stable for the amount of fats and proteins that it has in it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fascinated to see how it developed for, especially that reason. You rarely have beer with a lot of protein. You never have wine with a lot of protein.
Yeah.
So I'd be fascinated to see where this goes, where age takes it.
Barrel-aged blood wine. That's amazing.
Now, this one was pig's blood. Have you done, or are you planning on doing a human blood one?
I'm planning on that for the final fermentation. I want to do a secondary ferment because I still have some pig's blood left over with something that'll impart a bit more flavor. Hopefully honey, because I'm getting a good amount of very local honey very soon. Because I'm working with somebody who keeps bees on a beekeeping project. The final fermentation will ideally be my own blood mixed with whatever imparts the most flavor if the F2 is successful for this.
So cool. Ghoulish, but amazing.
That's what we're going for.
And what was the recipe here?
So I didn't measure completely. I know that it's about half a gallon of pig's blood, maybe a third of a bag of white sugar, and red wine yeast. But just Aljax just gave me a little packet of single-use red wine yeast. This is not a fancy or special red wine yeast. And again, this is my proof of concept. This is just to prove that it can be done. You can ferment this, and that this is what essentially it does. Because I wanted to ask that question and get an answer. Because nobody online would give me that answer.
And it the more it kind of lingers, the finish on the palate, the more I'm getting something that's if I reach back, it's oh yeah, bloody. There's that slight flavor. It's up until that point, it's not blood doesn't really present, but in the finish, a minute
It's
later,
that little tiny bit of
kinda
sodium
get that,
with that little bit of
my
meat.
lip is bloody. Oh, it's in there.
Yeah.
Really cool.
You mentioned an Instagram.
Gendron art, Gendron art. I do weird and interesting stuff like this sometimes. Not always, but usually.
Well, John, thank you so much for sharing what you've brewed. And so fucked up, so impressive. So day 3
of my captivity and fermentation, and the hooch is coming along great. Airlocks are chugging away. Seems to be a healthy fermentation. So that's all well. Hopefully, this meets the expectations of me. It's pretty sticky down here since they didn't give me like any paper towels or anything to clean up. But that's fine. That's fine. You know, just here with my fermenters. I've managed to keep myself nourished with a chunk of gummy bear head that I hid away. But definitely pretty sticky and high on sugar down here. So if you like this video, please send help, and yeah, rescue me. And thank you to Mom Rock for the use of their song Conversation. Y'all are great.
If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions about the mayhem we make here at Arcane, comment below or email us at info@arcanemead.com. If you especially like the blood wine, let John know at his Instagram at